Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Jess Kismet and I'm going to be your host, and I'm so excited to be adding my voice to the podcasting world. This is the Building Sciology Potty, and if you're a builder, architect, designer, homeowner, you're looking to build a new house or renovate an existing one, or you're just someone who cares about better buildings to live and breathe in, this podcast is for you. So where did the name Building Sciology originate? Well, first of all, let me assure you that it has got nothing to do with Scientology or sociology. It's a word that I just completely made up. It's a combination of the words science and biology, because building science and building biology are my two career passions. The name just came to me one day and I really liked it, so I ran with it. I'll give you a bit of an idea of who I am and what my experience is. So I started out with a building design diploma about 12 years ago. And during the course of that diploma, I started doing energy efficiency and sustainability subjects. And as soon as I came upon these subjects, my trajectory changed pretty quickly. I realized I didn't care so much about how buildings looked. I cared much more about how they worked. So my first job was in energy efficiency assessments against the National Construction Code, so star ratings and DTS assessments and things like that. During the course of that job, I found that there were some inconsistencies in what was being designed, what was being assessed by us, and what was being built on site. And this bothered me, because why put so much effort into how a building performs if it's not built the way it's supposed to be built? So I started to become interested in things like blower door testing and thermal imaging, because these are some on-site, as-built verification audit processes that you can use to make sure that a building is being built to a certain level. And from there, it just sort of all snowballed. I got into Passive House, and over the years, my knowledge has just become more and more specialized. It's time for a quick sponsor shout out. Today's episode of the Building Sciology Potty is proudly brought to you by our amazing sponsors, Enduro Builders and Climasure. A huge thank you to these incredible businesses for supporting the podcast and helping us spread the word about better buildings to live and breathe in. Your support makes this podcast possible. Please head over to their websites and follow their social pages. So then the building biology side of it. So that came earlier this year in 2024. I'd been thinking about building biology study for quite some time, but a few things happened in sort of the middle of the year that really spurred me on, and the building biology study just became something that I just had to do. My job is all about energy efficiency, which you may or may not be aware, a building that has a better energy efficiency is actually at a higher risk of mold growth, because it changes temperatures from inside to outside. It changes surface temperatures. It changes indoor relative humidity, changes drying cycles of a home. And so there's a lot of education in my job about how to reduce the risk of those unintended consequences of a building envelope that is better performing. So the mold risk that comes along with it became something that I wanted to learn more about. And I wanted to learn more about existing homes as well, and what's actually happening in Australian homes. Now, what I learned, and I can't believe I did not know this after so long in the industry, but what I learned is that mold can actually make people incredibly sick. I knew mold was bad and it's unsightly and we don't want it in our homes, but not that it can create very serious inflammatory responses in some people, and that biotoxin illness could actually be far more widespread than we know. So this gave me a renewed interest and reason to get better at my job and be able to connect those dots for people and help them better. So why a podcast? Well, Building Sciology started out as an Instagram page, and I'm still having a lot of fun with that, but I started to get a bit frustrated with the bite-sized bits of information that you can share and the limited scope. Some of the things we talk about are complex and they require conversations and they require a bit more unpacking than what Instagram allows. And plus having conversations is quite enjoyable. So my intention with this podcast is to fill knowledge gaps and improve communication around better building practices. There's pretty poor communication around building codes and better building practices in Australia, and there's very low accountability for poor building practices here too. So when you know better, you can do better. I'll be having guests on the show, people like builders, architects, homeowners, people just like you, building science colleagues, many more. And we're going to be talking about their wins, their lessons and experiences, and just trying to share the knowledge around as much as we possibly can. Thank you so much for joining me on this new adventure. The first episode drops on January 6th in the new year in 2025, when I'll be launching season 1 of the Building Sciology Poddy. There'll be 10 episodes in season 1, and I've got some really cool people lined up. I've got a couple of builders, a building code specialist, a homeowner, an architect, and a very, very special building science colleague who I'm pretty excited to have a chat with. There'll be a new episode every fortnight. So if you would like to listen in on the types of conversations that I have all the time, please subscribe on your chosen platform, rate the show, leave a comment, whatever you like, share with your friends and family. I'd love for you to spread the word. There is a link in the episode description where you can head to a landing page, and there is some show notes there and a full transcript of the show as well. There's also a contact page where you can send me an email, and there's a cute function when you can actually send me a voice message. So if you've got questions, suggestions, guest ideas, I'd love to hear from you. If you have a question, send me a voice message, and you can maybe even get your voice on the podcast, and maybe even a guest spot if you would like that. So I want to know what you want to know. So please get in touch with me. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again. I'll be back in your ears on January 6, 2025. Until then, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and happy healthy building.